I'm Robert Mitchell. The Tuesday morning when I buried my son felt like the end of everything I'd built over 63 years. Sarah, my daughter-in-law, stood beside me at the grave, her hand gripping mine so tight it hurt. She whispered that we'd get through this together. I believed her. God help me, I believed every word. My boy Daniel had been 34 when the heart attack took him. Too young. Far too young. The doctors said it was sudden, unexpected, a tragic anomaly in an otherwise healthy man. I'd spent 3 weeks in a fog, moving through the funeral arrangements like a ghost. Sarah handled everything I couldn't. She was there when I woke up at 3 in the morning, unable to breathe. She made coffee when my hands shook too badly to hold the pot. She answered calls from people I couldn't bear to speak to. The morning after we laid Daniel to rest, I woke up in my house feeling hollow. The place seemed too big, too quiet. 40 years I'd lived here with my wife Catherine before cancer took her 5 years back. Then it had been just me and occasional visits from Daniel and Sarah. Now it was just me. I was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at cold coffee, when my phone rang. The number wasn't one I recognized, but the voice on the other end was, "Mr. Mitchell? This is Gerald Pearson, from Pearson and Associates." I knew the name. Gerald Pearson had been Daniel's boss at the investment firm downtown. He'd come to the funeral, shaken my hand, said the usual things people say. "Mr. Pearson," I managed, "I need you to come to my office. Today, as soon as possible." His voice was tight, controlled. "There's something you need to see. Something about Daniel." My chest constricted. "What is it?" "Not over the phone. Please, Mr. Mitchell. This is urgent." He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice dropped lower. "And Robert, come alone. Don't mention this to Sarah." "Not yet." The line went dead. I sat there for a long moment, the phone still pressed to my ear. Don't mention this to Sarah. Why would he say that? Sarah was family. She was all the family I had left. But something in Gerald Pearson's voice made me get dressed, get in my car, and drive downtown without telling anyone where I was going. The Pearson building was all glass and steel, reaching 20 stories into the gray Seattle sky. I'd been here once before, 3 years ago, when Daniel got his promotion. He'd been so proud showing me his new corner office, the view of Puget Sound. The receptionist seemed to be expecting me. She walked me past the elevator to a private door in the back. We took a different elevator, one that required a key card, and went up to the 20th floor. Gerald Pearson's office was exactly what you'd expect from a man who'd built a multi-million-dollar firm from nothing. Rich mahogany, leather chairs, artwork that probably cost more than my house. But Pearson himself looked like he'd aged 10 years since the funeral. His silver hair was disheveled, his tie loosened, and there were dark circles under his eyes. "Thank you for coming," he said, gesturing to a chair. "I know this is difficult timing." "What's this about, Mr. Pearson?" He pulled out a file from his desk drawer. A thick one. 3 months ago, Daniel came to me with concerns. He'd noticed irregularities in some of the firm's accounts. Small discrepancies at first, but they were adding up. I felt my stomach drop. "You're saying Daniel was involved in something illegal?" "No." Pearson's voice was firm. "I'm saying Daniel discovered something illegal, and he was trying to find out who was responsible." He slid the file across to me. He documented everything. Offshore transfers, shell companies, forged signatures. Someone had been embezzling from the firm for at least 2 years. The total amount. He paused. Just over $4 million. My hands trembled as I opened the file. Pages and pages of financial records, account numbers, highlighted transactions, Daniel's handwriting in the margins, careful notes and dates. Did he find out who it was? Pearson's face went pale. Yes. He told me 3 days before he died. He pulled out another document. "Robert, the transfers were authorized using Sarah's credentials. Your daughter-in-law has been stealing from this firm, and when Daniel discovered it, he confronted her." The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the desk. "That's impossible. Sarah wouldn't. She loved Daniel." "I'm sure she did," Pearson said quietly. "But she also has a gambling problem. a severe one. We've confirmed she owes money to some very dangerous people. The kind of people who don't accept late payments. He pulled out more documents. Casino records, private gambling clubs, credit card statements showing cash advances in the tens of thousands. Sarah's name on all of them. Daniel was going to report her, Pearson continued. He told me he was giving her a chance to turn herself in first. He was devastated. But he couldn't let her destroy the firm, destroy other people's lives. That conversation happened on a Thursday evening. He looked at me with something like pity. Daniel died the following Tuesday morning. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. You think, Sarah? You think she killed my son? I think Daniel's death should have been investigated more thoroughly. I think a healthy 34-year-old man doesn't just drop dead from a heart attack. And I think he slid one more document across the desk. You should have this. It was a toxicology report, not the one from the hospital. This one was private, paid for by Pearson himself. He'd had Daniel's blood samples retested. Digoxin. Levels consistent with acute poisoning. The world went silent. All I could hear was my own heartbeat. Too fast, too loud. Digoxin is a heart medication, Pearson said. In normal doses, it regulates heartbeat. In high doses, it causes cardiac arrest. It's difficult to detect unless you're specifically looking for it. And in a young, healthy man, with no history of heart problems, he didn't need to finish. Sarah is a nurse, I whispered. She has access to medications. Pearson nodded. I've reported this to the police, but Robert, you need to understand something. Sarah doesn't know that I know. She doesn't know about this file, about the toxicology report. As far as she's concerned, she got away with it. Why are you telling me this? Why not just let the police handle it? His expression darkened. Because you're in danger. Sarah stands to inherit everything from Daniel. His life insurance, his estate, his share of your family's assets. But there's one problem. Your house, your savings, your property. It's all in your name. And you're only 63. You could live another 20, 30 years. The implication hit me like a physical blow. She's been living with me since Daniel died, I said. She's been making my meals, bringing me coffee, helping me take my medication. Pearson leaned forward. Robert, have you been feeling unwell? Fatigue, nausea, dizziness? I had. For the past week, I'd attributed it to grief, stress, the lack of sleep. But now, you need to leave. Now. Don't go home. Don't tell Sarah where you're going. I have a place you can stay. Somewhere safe. He handed me a business card. This is Marcus Webb. He's a private investigator, former detective. He's already started gathering evidence, but we need you protected while we build the case. I can't just disappear. Sarah will notice. Sarah needs to think everything is normal until we have enough to arrest her. You tell her you're going to stay with your brother for a few days. Tell her you need space to grieve. But, Robert, his eyes locked with mine, don't eat or drink anything she gives you. Don't take any medication she hands you. And don't let her know you suspect anything. I left the building in a daze. My phone buzzed almost immediately. Sarah. Robert? Where are you? I made lunch. My hand shook as I held the phone. This woman had killed my son, had been planning to kill me, and she was asking about lunch, like we were a normal family. I'm downtown, I said, keeping my voice steady. I needed to take care of some paperwork. I'll be home later. I'll keep it warm for you, she said sweetly. Drive safe. I didn't go home. I drove to the address Pearson had given me, a hotel on the waterfront. Marcus Webb was waiting in the lobby. He was in his 50s, built like someone who'd spent years on the force, with graying hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see right through me. Mr. Mitchell, he said, shaking my hand. Let's talk somewhere private. The room he'd reserved was on the top floor, with a view of the water. He'd already set up a laptop, files spread across the desk. I need you to understand something, Marcus said. What we're about to do is build a case that will put Sarah away for the rest of her life. But it requires patience. It requires you to play along, to act normal, until we have everything we need. How long? 2 weeks. Maybe 3. He pulled out a small device. This is a voice recorder, smaller than a pen. When you're around Sarah, I need you to wear it. Get her talking about Daniel, about money, about her plans. People who think they've gotten away with murder tend to get comfortable. They make mistakes. He showed me photographs. Sarah at a casino in Reno. Sarah meeting with men who looked like they could break someone in half. Sarah at the hospital where she worked, signing for medications. We've been tracking her for the past week, Marcus said. Since Pearson brought me in. She's desperate. The people she owes money to aren't patient. She needs your assets, and she needs them soon. So I'm bait. You're the key to catching a murderer, Marcus corrected. But yes, this is dangerous. If she suspects, if she thinks the plan is falling apart. He didn't finish, but he didn't need to. I spent that night in the hotel, unable to sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Sarah's face at the funeral, tears streaming down her cheeks. Had any of it been real? Had she ever loved Daniel? Or had he just been a means to an end? The next morning, I went home. Sarah was in the kitchen, making breakfast. Robert. She rushed over, hugging me. I was so worried. You didn't come home last night. I stayed at a hotel, I said. I needed some time alone. Of course, she said softly. I understand. Come, sit. I made your favorite. Eggs and bacon, and I picked up those pastries you like from the bakery. I sat down. The recorder was in my shirt pocket, barely visible. Sarah set a plate in front of me, along with a cup of coffee. You need to keep your strength up, she said, sitting across from me. I know this is hard, but we have to take care of ourselves. Daniel would want that. I looked at the coffee, looked at the eggs. Marcus's words echoed in my head. Don't eat or drink anything she gives you. I'm not very hungry, I said. I think I'll just have some water. Her smile flickered. Just for a second. You should eat something, Robert. You've barely had anything in days. Later, maybe. I saw the frustration cross her face, quickly masked. She stood up. I'll wrap it up for you. For when you're ready. Over the next week, I played the part. I went through the motions of grief while wearing Marcus's recorder. I had conversations with Sarah about Daniel, about our future, about the house and the estate, and slowly, carefully, she began to reveal herself. We should think about selling this place, she said one evening. It's too big for just you. We could find something smaller, more manageable. And the money, well, it would give you security. This is my home. Sarah, I know. I'm just thinking about your future, about what's best for you. She paused. Daniel would want me to take care of you. He made me promise. Marcus told me she'd contacted a real estate agent, started the process of transferring Daniel's assets to her name, applied for a power of attorney over my affairs, claiming I was too grief-stricken to make decisions. But we were building the case. Bank records showing the embezzlement, casino debts, the toxicology report, security footage from the hospital showing Sarah accessing the medication storage, phone records between her and the men she owed money to. 2 weeks in, something changed. I woke up in the middle of the night, feeling strange, dizzy, nauseous. My heart was racing. I stumbled to the bathroom and forced myself to vomit. In the toilet bowl, I saw traces of my dinner. The dinner Sarah had insisted I eat because you're wasting away, Robert. I called Marcus. He arrived within 20 minutes with a doctor. The blood test confirmed it. Digoxin. The same thing that had killed Daniel. Not enough to kill me yet, but she was building up the dose, making it look gradual, making it look like grief-induced heart failure. We move now, Marcus said. We have enough. The police arrested Sarah the next morning. I wasn't there. Marcus had taken me to a secure location, but he showed me the footage later. Sarah had been calm at first, confused, claiming there must be some mistake. But when they showed her the evidence, when they told her about the toxicology reports, when they played the recordings of her talking about selling my house, about how much easier everything would be once I was gone, she broke, screamed that it wasn't her fault, that the men she owed money to had threatened her, That Daniel had been going to ruin everything. That I was old anyway. That I'd had my life. And she deserved hers. The trial took 3 months. Gerald Pearson testified about the embezzlement. The doctor testified about the digoxin. Marcus Webb laid out the evidence piece by piece. The security footage. The bank records. The recordings. And I sat in that courtroom and listened to the woman I'd welcomed into my family. The woman I'd thought of as a daughter, to admit to murdering my son because he'd discovered her crimes. Admit to planning my death for the insurance money. The jury took 4 hours to convict her on all counts. Murder in the first degree. Attempted murder. Embezzlement. Fraud. The judge gave her life without the possibility of parole. I should have felt relief. Vindication. But sitting there, watching Sarah being led away in handcuffs, all I felt was empty. Gerald Pearson found me in the hallway after the sentencing. "Daniel left something for you," he said quietly. "He gave it to me 3 days before he died. Said if anything happened to him, I should make sure you got it." He handed me an envelope. My name in Daniel's handwriting. I didn't open it until I got home. Until I was sitting in the kitchen where I'd had my last real conversation with my son. The letter was dated the Thursday before he died. The day he'd told Pearson about Sarah. "Dad," it began, "if you're reading this, I'm gone, and Sarah is probably the reason why. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I brought her into our lives. I'm sorry I didn't see what she was sooner. I'm sorry I can't protect you from what she might try to do next. But I need you to know that I documented everything. Pearson has it all. The evidence, the proof. Don't let her get away with this. Don't let grief make you vulnerable. You're stronger than you think. Smarter than you give yourself credit for. You raised me to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard, even when it costs everything. I learned that from you. I love you, Dad. I'm sorry I won't get to say it again. But please, live. Don't let her take you too. Don't let her win. And when this is over, when justice is served, remember that you did what I couldn't finish. You protected yourself. You protected Mom's memory and mine. Be proud of that. I'm proud of you. Your son, Daniel." I read it 3 times. 4. Until tears blurred the words. That was 6 months ago. The house is quiet now. Too quiet sometimes. But I'm still here. I wake up every morning. I have coffee that I make myself. I've started volunteering at the community center, teaching woodworking to kids who remind me of Daniel at that age. Gerald Pearson calls me once a month. "Just to check in," he says. But I think he feels guilty that he didn't see what Sarah was doing sooner. I tell him there's no blame there. She fooled all of us. Marcus Webb stops by sometimes. We have dinner, talk about his cases. He says I handled myself better than most people would have. Says I'm tougher than I look. I keep Daniel's letter in my desk drawer. Some mornings, when the grief is too heavy, I read it again. Remember that my son knew what he was doing was dangerous. Did it anyway because it was right. Sarah writes me from prison sometimes. Letters I don't open. The prison counselor says she's still claiming she was a victim. That circumstance forced her hand. That if the debt collectors hadn't pressured her, if Daniel had just understood, I burned those letters. Because Daniel understood perfectly. He understood that some people, when faced with their own mistakes, choose to destroy rather than face consequences. He understood that the woman he'd married had become someone he didn't recognize, and he made sure that when she came for me, I'd have the tools to fight back. I'm 64 now. The doctors say I'm healthy, that the digoxin cleared my system with no permanent damage. I could have another 20 years, maybe 30. I plan to live every single one of them, not just for me, but for Daniel, for the future he didn't get to have, for the son who loved me enough to protect me even after death. That's what Sarah never understood. She thought she could poison everything my son and I built together. Our trust, our family, our love. But some things are stronger than poison. Some bonds can't be broken, even by death. And sometimes, the quiet man you underestimated is the one who brings you down. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's patient. Sometimes it's a father who loved his son enough to see the truth, no matter how much it hurt. Sometimes It's a father's quiet revenge.